How's it going, everyone? It is Thursday, June 20th, 2024. You guys are having a good day. A couple picks in the last video. Well, I guess really just one. Let's take a look at what we got. We had cost. So with cost, I did actually end up taking a small profit yesterday. So I got in at cost somewhere around here at 868, and I got out over here at 871. And looking back, I'm not sure if it's the best rationale. I think there's a better way I could have played it, but so you can see that cost is grinding up higher earlier in the day when the market was flat. And let me see if I can kind of fix the scaling here. So it's grinding up higher, and the market was flat. And then as the market staged this last rally over here to challenge this all-time high around 1 to 145, you can see that the stock was getting pretty flat here, not really participating in that rally. It was losing its relative strength. So when I saw these red candles here, I, for better or for worse, thought this could maybe be that, big reversal that we see. And I was thinking that, hey, we got a double top here. I think this is what could be that really big reversal and that bearish engulf. So that's why I ended up taking profits on cost. I did end up taking a win, but I don't think it was the best exit decision for two reasons. The first is that these bearish engulfs usually happen on a gap up. They don't happen on an LPTE day. So you can see here, gap up, and then we get the reversal, gap up, and then we get the reversal. Not on a really flat day. So I actually didn't really have to worry about that threat. And if it did happen, it would have to at least break the low of the day, which it did not. You can see it actually held pretty much all the gains of the move here and then came a little bit close to the low of the day, but not quite close. So that was the first kind of mistake. The second thing is that because I know it's an LPT day, I know we hit some resistance. There's certainly a chance I'll be able to profit near the top over here. So what I should have done is had this kind of go and then set an alert for a to exit closer to the top, maybe 173.50. I got out, so that's another $2 on that stock. So that would have been a much better exit. Now you can see the stock is pulling back over here on the D1 chart. So I took a profit, but I think there was some little decision-making errors that I got a little bit lucky on. But still a nice win on cost. We do take a win when we take a win. Sedge as a day trade yesterday. I really should have recommended this as an overnight swing, but I didn't feel confident doing so, and that would have been a winner. But here was Sedge. So when I gave the pick in the live stream, it was 12:40, and I think I ended up closing this for a kind of a normal-ish loss over here. I got in at 35.76. I got out at 37-ish, 37.07, $37. So about an average loss, nothing crazy. But two mistakes that I made on Sedge. The first one was that when it broke the low of the day, I liked that. That was what I was using as the support. And I think I rushed my analysis a little bit on that live stream. If you can see here, I think really the support level wasn't the low of the day. I think this was just a move to trigger some sell stops, and we got flushed right back in over here. The true support ended up being somewhere around this $37.35, $37.30 level. And I would treat this as the entry point really would be here at 12.15. So you can see we broke through this level. We get the retest, and then we hold. And I can even maybe short here at 12.30. And then one bar earlier, 12.35. But if I got in at this original setup over here, gap down, try to fill in the gap, we get this kind of descending triangle pattern that I like quite a bit. Breakdown over here. As long as this level holds, which it ends up doing so, you get in at 37.19, and then you can actually, oh man, this messes up the chart. But this stalls for a while, and when it stalls, you can take gains and even get out at the double bottom over here at 36.64. So there was a nice 70 cents in this trade, but I didn't quite get the entry that I usually get. And even if you were able to hold it to the end of the day, right, you're still able to take maybe a small win on this trade instead of taking some heat. So I think the entry could have been a little bit better on Sedge. Did end up producing on the daily chart over here, and this is if you're long the stock, this is where I would take profits. Really big gap. This is super heavy volume, so stock has been rallying all day when the market has been weak. If the market wasn't weak, I think it probably had a good chance of floating in that gap. So Sedge was a small, or I guess a decent loss over here. Happens, and it was really from my entry. So I'm going to mark cost over here as a win, and then Sedge as a loss. Okay. So last one we are in is you, the stock. So you, I took my partial profits earlier in the day over here at 15.95. That was a nice win, and then just riding my remaining 1/4 down for the rest of the day. Found a little bit of support here, bouncing, but that's what I was saying in the stock. You can see how it's just trickling down, and you really want to not worry too much about these intraday bounces. Right, so we got this bounce in the trend. Sellers came in, and now we're getting this next leg lower. I'm not really going to just ride this guy out as much as we can. So, could you say, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have scaled that. You could have added to it, sure, but mentally that's still pretty tough. I'm still getting used to that. And if we're going to go to our market bias over here, I'm going to get touching this for a little bit because it'll help gauge our trade. But market bias, we're kind of cautious over here. It's getting a little bit toppy, but we haven't quite seen that bearish engulfing candle. So we know, again, we're closer to the end of that move than the beginning. If we get a move down, we're going to get some additional market tailwind for you. So my plan is to really see how long I can ride this until either the stock stalls or the market gives me some sign of strength over here, and then I can consider getting out of the trade. But for right now, I took some nice profits on the stock, and I'm just riding that remaining portion down. And then, like, the absolute worst case scenario at this point is like I could probably scratch out of the trade if we get some sort of massive bullish engulfing candle. But I would have taken a lot of gains on that position already. So U is looking pretty good. We're still going to hold it. I think there's still plenty of downside to this. It's doing everything we want, so we want to stay in that sort of position. All right. So market for today. Longer term, still nothing has really changed on that basis. We're still neutral to mildly bullish. On the shorter term over here, I am a little bit more neutral again, right? We got that breakout. We know that when we get these breakouts to all-time high, we do tend to stall a little bit over here. Here we got that all-time high, and then we got rejected back down, and then buyers came back in. Same sort of deal is happening today. We got a bit of a gap up. New all-time high at 550. Got rejected down, and now buyers are coming in at this level, and they are gobbling up some shares in the market. So shorter term, a little bit more neutral. Again, don't want to take too many long swings, long positions. We also know that tomorrow is a triple witching date. Hari mentioned that there's going to be $5 trillion of options expiration, the largest in history. So there will certainly be, a lot of volume, a lot of activity, a lot of potentially some volatility. I don't have a bias as to which way it might go, but this is the information that you have to bake into your game plan and determine how confident you are. All right. So intraday, let's look at what's happening over here. So on 18th, we had a pretty flat day. Didn't do too much. Day before a holiday. Today, actually a little bit more action than I thought for a holiday day or a post-holiday day, which is very nice. We had a gap up, poked at an all-time high very early. We got rejected down, and we filled in this very tiny gap. A little bit of support here, and now we're just kind of compressing. One of the main things I've been really looking more recently is volume. I just read or just finished the volume price analysis book by Anna Colling. I thought it was a really, really great read. I wish I'd read it earlier, but I'm going to try to apply some of those more principles in my videos as they come. We see this drop on heavy volume, right? Really high volume on this bar, and then this bounce over here, pretty light volume, not doing too much. And look at these two high volume candles here. We get a high volume candle that's maybe a little bit of short squeeze, and then another even higher volume candle, but there's no net movement. So what does that mean? If there's a ton of volume, but we're not going anywhere, that's a sign of some weakness. We then get this red bar confirming that weakness over here, some nice volume, a little bit of a low volume here on this chop, and then we start to break down through the low of the day here. So a big chunk of it was really this move. This move was sort of the move of the day, as you will. We got a tall bounce here on very light volume, and then we resumed this trend. Not a ton of volume here, and then very high volume over here. So this is where it gets sort of choppy. And then this, you can see here, was the key tell for a reversal when we get this nice bullish hammer, or sorry, this long candle on pretty heavy volume that erased a lot of the gains very quickly. So that is a nice sign of support. Markets rallying up a little bit higher. I am still a little bit bearish for the day. This could potentially be a bullish reversal day. If you guys have seen kind of when we're back in that compression range where we would get these, where are we over here? Here we go. So something like this, right? Where we get this gap up, we get this move down. It's decent. It's not the best, also not the worst. This has a far lower volume, by the way, so it's not as strong. And then we get this reversal later in the day, and the move kind of just chugs along. We get a strong action here. We get some strong volume over here, and then we sort of drift higher for the remainder of the move. So something like that could be setting up. I think this day is a little bit different from that day in two regards. First, this is happening a lot later in the day. That happened far earlier, around 12. This is happening 1:40, right? So 2/3 of the day is already captured by this move. Second part is that we actually got a far steeper drop on far heavier volume. So it does tell me that at least bears are going to have way more control on this day than that day. And then third, this is a nice move over here. We're getting some high volume candles. We're not really able to advance. We're at VWAP. So if I think the trend is going to stall, it would stall over here. You can see that these tails, these high volume tails as well, tells us that sellers are knocking it down, buyers are coming back up. So there's some weakness, there's some consolidation right over here. We want to see which way this goes. So how are we going to play this so far? Well, we have U short. What I'm looking for here, I was looking for a day trade. And let's go to some tags over here, or a potential swing. So first one, there's a couple mentioned in the chat. I did like AEO quite a bit over here. So you can see, first of all, double top, kind of choppy stock here. We had this kind of longer move up. We had some time to digest the gains, and now we're actually getting a nice reversal pattern. We're through a lot of the SMAs, AVWAP-Q. That's kind of what's happening on a very longer term basis. Market has been grinding down lower. Sorry, the stock has been grinding down lower while the market has been rallying higher. So very nice short term weakness and momentum in the stock. Today it broke through the 200-day SMA. There's also quite a bit of horizontal resistance over here. And I'm going to put up my the volume chart on a stock like this. So you can see here that around this level, which actually where the current price is, a lot of volume coming in, right? This is a super heavy volume candle, high volume candles over here. And then a couple more touches over here where we got some buyers, which actually does correspond to this level right here. So there's some horizontal resistance at this level, and the stock broke through that. And right now it does look like it's testing that level, and these tests can be strong. So if AEO confirms this test, and I'm looking for kind of an LRSI cross back down. So let's go back to the M5 here. This is a more detailed view. This M5 chart, if I'm just following a stock, I like to see this view. It's a little bit cleaner. And I'll pull up the 8 EMA. So currently testing this level, which also happens to coincide with VWAP. So that's why we're getting this strong move here. We're trying to determine if this move is valid. We're getting some decent volume here and some organized price action. So certainly, there's a chance that this move does not confirm. But if we do get that LRSI cross down, we're kind of able to get some footing over here. I do like AEO for a short overnight. So that's going to be my pick overnight here, AEO. But I want to see that LRSI cross, and I want to see some relative weakness, and it has to close below this level by the end of the day. If it's kind of very near this level by the end of the day, I'm not going to take the short because it hasn't quite confirmed that that horizontal support over here. It also actually lines up with this low plus trend line. So these sort of converge at the same price point. So that's my condition here. AEO short overnight on the condition that we hold below the horizontal resistance. And we get that LRSI cross. All right. So that's one of the picks here. I'm going to give a nice option on the long side, just as something I was looking at, which is TJX. This stock has been a very, very nice grinder. Totally ignoring the market today. Really heavy volume as well. Considering the market is having quite a down day, this stock is doing really well. So I'm not sure. Personally, I think that if we look at this stock, it's kind of compressed, broken that compression off the 8 EMA. It has made us move already, so I don't think I'd quite take it yet, especially with the market being, potentially, again, close to that end of the move in the beginning. A little bit more hesitant to take some longs, but if you want to do something very short term, a day trade or an overnight swing, that is possible on TJX. I'm not going to give it as a recommendation for this video, but if you're looking for a nice long for whatever reason, I think that is a decent one to consider over here. Another one that I liked a bit was Okta. Okta, same deal. There's some horizontal support from June 7th, and it's just digesting a lot of this huge earnings candle. So if I zoom out on Okta a little bit, there's certainly some trend lines coming into play. This I think is a fairly major trend line, so I think that would have to be my target if I did end up taking the short. Same thing with Okta. I'd want to see it confirm below this horizontal support or this horizontal level. So I'm going to set the low of the day. If we can do that, that could be a pretty nice short setting up. There goes AEO. And then day trade that I like quite a bit here is Wolf. So Wolf, nice bearish chart, M5. Let's zoom out to the daily first. That's actually more important. So it's in this long compression, pretty weak chart, not doing too much. I was worried that we could potentially be at the bottom of this range, but there's a couple things that are interesting about Wolf over here. So the first is, yeah, we're in this horizontal level, but I really do view most of the range to actually be over here. If I look at this on a volume basis, a lot of the volume was early in this move here, and you can see that we're breaking around somewhere here, so there's maybe some minor horizontal resistance here, but I think a big chunk of it was earlier in the move, around $25. So that's the first thing. So I'm not too worried about this level here. I am more worried about these levels here on April 22nd and May 2nd. You can see these are insanely high R-vol candles, right? Really, really high volume. So that could be that could be some major stopping points for this stock. There's also some major R-vol candles over here on this move where price is reacting. So stock has been unable to advance above that level over as well. So I'm going to just draw another guy here. That's a bit of the range that we see on this stock. There's a lot of stopping points over here. And that's just how I mark that up. So when you see a lot of high volume lows and highs converging on an area, that's a pretty big area for this stock to clear. It might be tough for that to clear. On the short side, though, I think we have far more room. And secondly, this price action over here is pretty decent. We have a very nice head of steam when the market has been flat or higher. The stock has been far lower. All pretty much red consecutive candles. So I like Wolf. I got in at Wolf at a 23.60 and have a passive target out to take maybe $1 on the stock. So Wolf short as a day trade. That is going to be my second pick of the day. So you get back over here. This is a live trade, and I hope I got in on this trade. I'm pretty sure I did. Nice. Okay, so yeah, I'll get in on that trade, and that is a pretty decent win. You can see how the stock gapped down, testing this over here. And then after we kind of shook off a lot of these buyers over here, you can see we broke through, retest, broke through, confirm again. And once we broke through over here at 1145, I mean, buyers were totally dissuaded on this stock. And you can see this was that $25 level. Here's a whole bunch of volume coming into play. And once we shook those buyers out, lot of selling pressure over here. Pulls back to the 8 EMA and just sort of grinds lower. We had a tiny compression here that never quite retraced. So this is looking pretty nice. This is a pretty decent setup on Wolf, and that's going to be my second pick of the day. So 2 picks over here. AEO short overnight. If it could hold below that horizontal resistance, we get some nice decent price action rejecting off that level. And then the second pick over here would be Wolf short as just a day trade only. If you want to swing it, I'm totally cool with that. But I don't want to overload on 3 bearish swings. Let's just do 2 for right now. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll take a look at these guys in the next video.